welcome students of class 9th. I hope that you're well. Today we're going to do unit number 5, that is Daffodils, and this is a poem written by William Wordsworth. He was born in 1770 and died in 1850. You should know the date of birth as well as the death date because it might come in the MCQs, so you should know each and everything. William Wordsworth, who was he? He was a great poet. He is known as the poet of nature, and most of the poems that he has written are simple and easily understood by a layman. Now layman means a common man. Okay, why am I telling you this? Because in the past the poets used to write do poetry, and their poetry had so much flowery language. Flowery language means कि उसमें it was a combination. They used to use words that was so difficult that a normal common man could not understand it. If you are well educated, only then you can understand those words that were written in the poetry. So Wordsworth wanted to write something for the common man as well, and he was interested in nature. He loved nature. So what he did, that his poetry is basically a combination of simplicity and beauty as well. If you look at the poem, if you read the poem, you enjoy it a lot, and it is quite simple. Even a kid can read the poem and enjoy it. So in the past, as the poetry was mostly for the aristocratic class, and that was the top class, who they were highly they were educated, they were also quite rich people. So the poets used to write poetry for them, that they have the time and they can do it. But no, Wordsworth was not like that. He knew a lot. He had a great vocabulary, and he has written difficult poems. But this is mostly his focus was to write, do such poetry that was for the common man. Even a common man can read the poetry and enjoy himself. Okay, so that's why this poem is very important, because it is very simple, and it along with simplicity, he has used languages, he has used a bit of flowery language, but it is quite simple. Each and every person can enjoy it and take delight from it. Okay, now one more thing that I also want to tell you about over here, that this poem is very, very important, very important. So whatever I'm explaining it to you, please be very alert about it, because although it's simple, but there is a lot of material in it. If you look into it, you go into a depth of it, so you're going to say, oh my god, there's so much in it. Okay, so let's start. One more thing, another thing that I want to tell you, that in a poetry there are two types of meaning. One is the surface meaning. The surface meaning is when you are reading a poem, you just understand what comes into your mind, and then there is again one more thing, and that is the meaning between the lines. Between the lines means something hidden meanings are also present over there. Over here in this poem, it is basically simple, but we also have a lot of figure of speech over here. Now you have done figurative speech before, and that is simile, personification, metaphor, वगैरह. So that is also included over here. So let's see. Let's start. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Now the first stanza, first of all, you're gonna look at what? The first stanza. Now cloud and crowd, these are rhyming words. First of all, you are supposed to know how the words rhyme with each other. So mostly what the poets do, they usually rhyme the first and the third line. The last word of the first line and the last word of the third line are usually rhyming. Rhyming means कि वो same sound दे रहे हैं, just like cloud and crowd. So what I have written A over here, and I have written on the cloud A and with the crowd A. मतलब ये कि दोनों के साथ मैंने A लिखा है. Why? Because ये मैं अभी आपको थोड़ी देर के बाद बताऊंगी. Then comes, when we look forward, there is hills and daffodils. I'm gonna put B over here and a B over here. Okay, then we have the trees and the breeze, so this is C and C. What I have basically done over here is, now I'm gonna write it over here, A B CC. First of all, you should know, okay, what is a stanza. A stanza is basically based on 4 lines, but it can be of 6 lines as well. It can be of 8 lines as well. There are different categories over here. So this is a 6 line stanza, ठीक है, जिसको एक बंद बोलते हैं उर्दू में. And it has the rhyme scheme. Now it has a certain rhyme scheme. This rhyme scheme mostly follows in the other stanzas as well. इसी rhyme scheme को follow किया जाता है. But sometimes it happens कि when the poet is a certain state of a mind and his mind changes, so वो उसको अपनी poetry में थोड़ा सा twist and turn लेके आ सकता है. Now what I have written over here, A B A B and like this, A B A B and C C. It means that this is known as the rhyme scheme. इसको क्या कहा जाता है? इसको कहा जाता है rhyme scheme. अभी वैसे मोस्टली पूछा तो नहीं जाता है इन दस पिछले पेपर्स में भी, इफ़ यू सीन देयर इज़ नो राइम स्कीम ओवर हियर देयर, लेकिन आपको अगर पूछा जाए कि व्हाट इज़ द राइम स्कीम ऑफ द पोएम, तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि राइम स्कीम इज़ ए बी सी सी. Why is A B C C? Because the first line and the first line matches with the third, second line matches with the fourth, and then the last 2 lines matches. So we have given them A B C C. ठीक है? So this is known as the rhyme scheme of the poem. First thing, जो चीज़ सबसे पहले important चीज़ आपको पता होनी चाहिए. Then comes, now we are gonna focus on what are the rhyming words. Now cloud and crowd, they rhyme. ठीक है? If and this question has come before, कि ये question आ चुका है कि rhyming words निकालें. तो बच्चे क्या करते हैं? Most of you don't know, and आप दरमियान में से rhyming words निकालते हैं. No, that is not correct. You are gonna just focus on the last word of the line, and वो last word जो मिल रहा है आपने कहना है कि now the rhyming words are cloud and crowd. आपने ऐसे करके लिखना है. ठीक है? Not like this, कि cloud, hills, crowd, daffodil. No, cloud and crowd. Then you are gonna write hills, daffodils, like this. So these are your rhyming words. ये दिमाग में बिठा लें कि these are your rhyming वर्ड्स, ये आपके राइमिंग वर्ड्स हैं जिसको आपने फोकस करना है कि अगर पेपर में आता है कि व्हाट आर द राइमिंग वर्ड्स, तो आपने क्या लिखना है? यू आर गोना राइट द राइमिंग वर्ड्स ऑफ दिस स्टैंजा इज क्लाउड एंड क्राउड, हिल एंड डैफोडिल, ट्रीज एंड ब्रीज. सो दीज आर द राइमिंग वर्ड्स. फर्स्ट हमने क्या किया? वी हैव डन द राइमिंग स्कीम, दैट इज A B C C, एंड नाउ वी हैव डन द राइमिंग वर्ड्स. द राइमिंग वर्ड्स आर क्लाउड, क्राउड, हिल्स, डैफोडिल्स. ठीक है? नाउ कम्स द नेक्स्ट थिंग कि नाउ आई एम गोना एक्सप्लेन द फर्स्ट stanza. Now over here it is written, I wandered lonely as a cloud. Now what are you gonna have? You're gonna, first of all, you're gonna get this stanza for paraphrasing, and the second thing that you're gonna get, that you're gonna have a stanza, and they're gonna ask 3 questions about it. So they can ask you a question कि who is the poet of the poem. So आपने फिर properly in proper sentence लिखना है कि the poet of the poem is William Wordsworth. और please spellings का focus कीजिएगा. William का W कैपिटल होना चाहिए. आपको इन चीज़ों का ख्याल रखना चाहिए, बिकॉज इन इंग्लिश यू लूज मार्क्स बेसिकली इन अ स्मॉल माइन्यूट मिस्टेक्स दैट आपको पता भी नहीं होता कि आपने वो मिस्टेक की है, एंड यू लूज मार्क्स इन इट. सो ओवर हियर इन दिस फर्स्ट stanza, if you look closely, now they say I wonder. Now there once a question came कि who is I in this मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन में आया था कि हु इज़ आई इन दिस स्टैंजा. मतलब ये लाइन आई है, आई वंडर लोनली, कि हु इज़ द पोइट रेफरिंग टू, व्हाट इज़ बीइंग और हु इज़ बीइंग रेफर्ड. और नीचे ऑप्शन आए द पोइट, यू, मी, और समथिंग लाइक 3-4 ऑप्शन आए. तो यहाँ पे जो आई है, दैट इज़ बेसिकली द पोइट. इट्स नॉट एनीबॉडी एल्स, बट इट इज़ बेसिकली द पोइट. wandered lonely as a cloud, just like a cloud moves on the sky. It moves sky, मतलब वो जहाँ पे हवा उसको लेके जाती है, the cloud moves in that direction. वो कोई अपना डायरेक्शन खुद से नहीं चेंज वो करता. So just like a wandering cloud. Wandering means when something is going here and there without any aim. ठीक है? तो that means कि you are wandering around. So just like a lonely cloud that is wandering around here and there, the poet was also wandering around here and there. ठीक है? And that floats. Now he's comparing himself. He's comparing himself with what? The poet is comparing himself with a cloud. So if you look closely, when he's comparing, I wandered lonely as a cloud that flows over on high over the hills, just like the cloud that is floating on high over. Now Wales means valley. What is the meaning of Wales? Wales means valley. Valley and hills, just like the cloud is wandering, in the same way the poet is also roaming around or wandering around. So he's comparing himself with what? He is comparing himself with a cloud. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे comparison आया और यहाँ पे कौन सी चीज़ यूज़ हुई है? Simile. क्या यूज़ हुआ है? क्योंकि as a cloud, so he is using a simile over here. Figure of speech कौन सा यूज़ हुआ है? Figure of speech यूज़ हुआ है simile over here. ठीक है, that floats on high over the hills. Okay, now along with simile, what else do you think यहाँ पे कौन सा figure of speech इस्तेमाल हुआ है? Just think over here. I wandered lonely. Now I and cloud जो है wandering जो होता है ना, this is basically moving here and there. this ये human quality है. क्या है ये? Human quality है. So if you're giving a human quality to a non-living things, आप क्या कर रहे होते हो? Tell me. आप कौन सा फिगर ऑफ स्पीच यूज़ करें? यू आर यूजिंग पर्सोनिफिकेशन. तो यहाँ पे ये पर्सोनिफिकेशन भी है. क्लियर? अच्छा, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Now in these two lines, if you look over here, what do we have? We have the visual imagery. ठीक है, कौन सी imagery इस्तेमाल हो रही है? Visual imagery. अच्छा, अगर for example in the paper you get a question के which type of figure of speech has been used over here, so you are gonna say कि it simile has been used, that the poet is comparing himself with a cloud. We also have a personification के the cloud has been given the human qualities, and again in this third and the fourth line we have the visual imagery. You're not gonna say only imagery, you're gonna focus on the specific type of imagery, and that is the visual imagery. Now beneath the lake, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Now in the last line again, something the quality of figure, which figure of speech is used over here? Basically a figure of speech used over here is your personification. Why am I saying it's a personification? Because dancing is the quality of human beings. Okay, so over here if they are fluttering and dancing, so it means in the breeze, so it means they are giving them the human qualities, and here the personification has been used. So in just one stanza you can see कि simile has been used. Okay, and you have used visual imagery, you have used personification. And why visual imagery के लिए खास बात ये होती है कि इसमें देखें ना, saw, when you say I saw, so automatically आपके दिमाग के अंदर एक image बन जाता है कि you are looking at something, so it becomes a visual imagery for you. Okay, so in the same way you can get questions from this stanza, and automatically if you know it thoroughly you can easily answer the questions. Now we are going to move to our next stanza. Continues, as the stars shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretch in never-ending lines along the margin of the bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. Now here we are, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. Here again the poet is comparing, and he is basically comparing the daffodils with the stars. How do you compare daffodils with the stars? क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे आया हुआ है. सो व्हाट आर यू गोना गिव द आंसर कि जस्ट लाइक द स्टार दैट आर limitless and they are countless and they are spread on the Milky Way or in the galaxy, in the same way these daffodils are also stretched in never ending lines. यानी ये they are in such a great number that they are in a never ending. When you look at it you see a big ocean of daffodils over there. So he is comparing over here the daffodils with what? With the stars. Now यहाँ पे भी again they have used the poet has used a simile over here, first thing, and the next thing is that he has used over here they stretch in never ending lines. ठीक है, never ending lines मतलब again वही है कि ये यहाँ पे एक और जो इन्होंने फिगर स्पीच इस्तेमाल की है, लेकिन वो आप लोगों के लिए नहीं है, मैं आपको वैसे सिर्फ बता देती हूँ कि जो टर्म यूज़ होती है यहाँ पे दैट इज़ हाइपरबॉल. नाउ हाइपरबॉल मीन्स ये एक टर्म है जो कि आपको अभी तो इसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है, इफ़ यू डू लिटरेचर में आगे करेंगे तो देन यू आर गोना learn about it. But hyperbole and exaggeration, एक होती है ration, these are the two words. इसका मतलब ये होता है कि बहुत ही पोइट ने बहुत ज़्यादा एग्जैजुरेट कर दिया है, लेकिन ये पोइट की पोइट्री को खूबसूरत बनाने के लिए ये एक खासियत होती है, ये एक टेक्निक्स होती हैं जो कि ये पोइट्स यूज़ करते हैं. सो ओवर हेयर ही हैज़ यूज द टेक्निक ऑफ हाइपरबॉल ओवर हेयर, एंड इन विच ही इज सेइंग कि दे स्ट्रेच इन नेवर एंडिंग लाइन्स दैट यू can't count it, there are so many along the margin of the bay. Now margin means what? Margin का मतलब होता है बाउंड्री ऑफ द बे. बे वाटर पानी का को कहते हैं कि जो पानी का किनारा है उसके पास ये इसके मार्जिन के साथ, इसके किनारे के साथ. नाउ दैट देयर आर 10,000 at a glance. Now there how many daffodils are there? 10,000. He is giving an estimated in I saw at a glance कि single glance में I saw 10,000 daffodils. ठीक है, tossing their heads in a sprightly land. Now we have the figure of speech that has been used over here is a visual imagery along with that. Now I saw at a glance, again visual imagery हुई है, and उसके बाद एक और personification भी है again कि in a sprightly dance. अच्छा, एक और बात जिसमें जो बच्चे अक्सर गलती करते हैं वो ये होता है कि बच्चे क्या करते हैं, जब उनसे कहा जाता है कि विच फिगर ऑफ स्पीच हैज़ बीन यूज, तो वो डायरेक्टली लाइंस लिख देते हैं कि 10,000 आई सॉ एट अ ग्लांस टॉसिंग देयर हेड्स इन स्प्राइटली डांस. ऐसे आपने आंसर नहीं लिखना. माइंडेड, आई एम फोकसिंग, आई एम एम्फेसाइजिंग ऑन दिस कि आपने ऐसे आंसर नहीं लिखना. क्यों नहीं लिखना? बिकॉज अगर आप सिंपल ये पॉइंट्स लिख देते हैं तो इससे पॉइंट एग्जामिनर को नहीं पता चलता कि व्हाट आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट. यू हैव टू गिव योर आंसर इन अ प्रॉपर सेंटेंस फॉर्म कि the visual imagery has been used as the poet is comparing, saying that he saw 10,000 daffodils in one glance, and he has also used the figure of speech of he has also used personification when he is referring to their dance as it was a sprightly dance, or they were tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. आपने ऐसे आंसर देना. इज़ इट क्लियर? जब आप सिंपल लाइंस लिख देते हैं तो वो अच्छा इम्पैक्ट नहीं देता. उसमें ये होता है कि आपको पता है लेकिन आपको ये नहीं पता कि किस किस्म का कौन सी फिगर ऑफ स्पीच है. फिगर ऑफ स्पीच को आपने मेंशन करना है. इज़ इट क्लियर? Now we have the next one, and that is the waves beside them dance, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Now in the previous stanza, the poet compared the daffodils with stars. Now he is comparing the waves and the daffodils. Now ये बहुत important है, अक्सर बच्चे इसमें confuse हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, the poet is saying the waves beside them. Now as they are stretched at the border or the boundary of the bay. ठीक है, यहाँ पे ये सारा का सारा ये पानी है. This is water, and over here they are stretched around in 10,000. So what is the poet basically saying? कि the waves beside them, now the waves over here beside them dance, they are also dancing, but they outdid. Now they यहाँ पे किसको रेफर करता है? If that the question comes कि what is they in the stanza, so this they is basically daffodils. क्या है ये डैफोडिल्स हैं. ठीक है, आउटडेट का मतलब है कि सरपास करना, बाजी ले जाना. द स्पार्कलिंग वेव्स इन ग्ली, ग्ली का मतलब होता है खुशी, हैप्पीनेस. ग्ली मीन्स हैप्पीनेस. सो यहाँ पे पोइट क्या कह रहा है कि द वेव्स बिसाइड द डैफोडिल्स आर ऑल्सो डांसिंग, बट the daffodils are surpassing the sparkling waves in glee. यानी कि daffodils जो है वो ज़्यादा खुश हैं, they are more happy, they are in such a joyous mood that they are surpassing the sparkling waves. यानी sparkling waves भी इनके आगे कुछ नहीं है. ठीक है, सो हेयर द पोइट का जो मेन इंटरेस्ट है वो आपके जहन में क्या आ रहा है कि कौन सा इंटरेस्ट है? ही इज़ इंटरेस्टेड इन द डैफोडिल्स. ठीक है, अ पोइट could not but be gay in such a jocund company. Now he is saying कि a poet, any poet, a poet का मतलब यहाँ पे कि it can be any poet, कोई भी poet आ जाए. If he looks over here, he could not but be gay. Gay means happy, यानी वो खुश रहने के अलावा और कुछ नहीं कर सकता. In such a jocund company. Jocund means over here, jocund means happy, joyful. मैंने इतने jocund happy company, इस कंपनी के अंदर वो जो है वो खुश रहने के अलावा और कुछ नहीं हो सकता. अगर ही इज़ इन अ सैड मूड, अगर वो इस नज़ारे को देखा, ऑटोमेटिकली ही इज़ अ पोएट, एंड पोएट्स आर क्वाइट सेंसिटिव, ही विल बिकम हैप्पी. नाउ ओवर हियर वन मोर थिंग दैट आई वांट टू पॉइंट आउट इज़ दैट jocund company has been used as this jocund company is what? it is basically here in such a joke company, it is used as a metaphor. ओके यानी डायरेक्ट उन्होंने उसकी कंपनी को जोकन कंपनी हैप्पी कंपनी बोल दिया है ऑफ द डैफोडिल्स. आई गेज्ड इन गेज बट लिटिल थॉट what wealth the show to me had brought. Now he's saying I gaze, he looked and looked, ठीक है, and what little thought, but little thought, he thought very little over there. At that time he was mesmerized by the beauty of the daffodils, and he was gazing and gazing at it, looking at it so keenly that he little thought that this is bringing it as such a great treasure to him. What wealth the show to me had brought. He was not, but at that time he wasn't thinking that his mind is storing all the beauty of and the sprightly dance of the daffodils, and it is storing being stored in his mind, and it is a great wealth for him. ठीक है, आप अगर कभी भी आपने एक्सपीरियंस किया, इफ़ यू हैव गॉन टू मरी और सम ब्यूटीफुल एरिया, इफ़ यू हैव सीन सर्टन सीन्स ओवर देयर, तो वो आपके माइंड के अंदर कैप्चर हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, एट दैट टाइम यू डोंट रियलाइज, बट व्हेन यू गो बैक एंड समटाइम्स यू थिंक दोज मेमोरीज कम्स बैक एंड इट गिव्स यू हैप्पीनेस. सो इन द सेम वे द पोएट इज आल्सो सेइंग कि it is giving him happiness. Now a question once came कि what wealth the show to me had brought means what. So you are going to say कि it has brought joy and happiness to the poet. He didn't realize it at that time, but it was a memory, that this memory was a source of joy for him in the future. ठीक है. Then we have there's a question over here कि how does the poet feel in the company of the daffodils. So obviously he feels quite happy, he's quite mesmerized, he's happy, he's enjoying their company. Now we have the last stanza over here. For often when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Now this last stanza, if you look over here, the poet is saying that when he's lying on his couch is a sort of a sofa, ठीक है, and when he's often off means often, for often when on his couch he's lying in vacant means empty. What does vacant means? Empty. And pensive जो है, ये this is a very important word, it is a thoughtful, it means thoughtful, ठीक है, thoughtful or thinking in a sad way, but from sadness, thoughtful but from sadness. इसको मैं एक्सप्लेन कर देती हूँ, यहाँ पे अब लिखा नहीं जा रहा. बेसिकली इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ये वाला पॉइंट पहले भी पेपर में आ चुका है, क्वेश्चन में आ सके कि व्हाट इज़ द मीनिंग ऑफ पेंसिव. सो मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स डोंट रियलाइज कि व्हाट डज इट मीन्स. इसका आपको जो सही मीनिंग है वो लिखना है. यू आर गोना से थॉटफुल, लेट मी जस्ट राइट इट हियर, और थिंकिंग thoughtful. इसके बाद ओके, हियर वी आर. थॉटफुल एंड सैड मूड. पेंसिव का मतलब होता है सैड, वेकेंट का मतलब होता है एम्प्टी. वेकेंट जो होता है बिल्कुल खाली, एम्प्टी, ठीक है. एंड व्हेन यू एम्प्टी का क्या मतलब है ओवर हियर, मतलब यानी समटाइम्स योर माइंड इज क्लियर, एम्प्टी, एंड यू आर नॉट थिंकिंग अबाउट एनीथिंग. और समटाइम इट इज़ पेंसिव. पेंसिव मीन्स कि यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट समथिंग बट यू आर इन अ सैड मूड. सो बेसिकली इंपॉर्टेंट इज़ कि यू आर थॉटफुल बट इन अ सैड मूड को आपने ज़रूर मैंशन करना है, thoughtful and sad mood, ठीक है. So in such a way they flash upon the inward eye. Now what is the meaning of inward eye? Inward eye is your imagination. What is your inward eye? It is your imagination, and ये आपका यहाँ पे metaphor है. क्या है ये metaphor? कि डायरेक्ट आपके इनवर्ड आई जो है वो डायरेक्ट आपके दिमाग को उन्होंने इनवर्ड आई, इमेजिनेशन को इनवर्ड आई का वर्ड दिया है. तो इट्स बेसिकली एन मेटाफर ओवर हियर व्हिच इज़ द ब्लिस ऑफ सॉलिट्यूड. नाउ ब्लिस मीन्स ब्लेसिंग. व्हाट इज़ द ब्लिस? ब्लेसिंग ऑफ सॉलिट्यूड. सॉलिट्यूड का मतलब होता है तन्हाई. सॉलिट्यूड का मतलब क्या होता है? लोनलीनेस, ठीक है. So basically the poet is saying when he is in when his mind is empty or he's in a sad mood, thoughtful and sad mood, what happens, they flash upon, they suddenly this memory comes into them his mind, and it is a bliss of solitude, where it is basically a blessing of loneliness. When he is lonely, he reminds those thoughts and these memories, recalls these memories, and what happens, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils, and his heart becomes happy then, and he also dances, his heart also dances with the daffodils, and he enjoys the company or the memory that comes back into his mind. ठीक है, तो इस तरीके से जो सोच उसके दिमाग में वापस आती है, इससे वो क्या होता है, he enjoys it, and जो उसका pensive mood होता है, sad mood होता है, it turns into happiness. So the pensive mood is converted into a happy mood, and he is enjoying, and his heart also dances with the daffodil. So here ये is with this we have come to an end of the poem, and I hope that you have enjoyed. There are a lot of figure of speech used over here. A very nice poem it is, and if you look at all the stanza, the rhyming scheme will be A B A B C C. तो आप इसको आराम से मतलब enjoy भी कर सकते हैं. Now I have told you about the rhyming scheme, the rhyming words, the metaphor, the personification and everything, and I hope that you have understood it clearly. So okay ji, with this, Allah Hafiz, and I hope that you have enjoyed it a lot.